From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
Good afternoon. It's a breaking details and breaking news afternoon, as a lot of things are happening in the last few minutes, and one major event will happen in minutes from now. I'll be breaking into that live feed shortly. Forced stimulus is heating up, and forced stimulus, monthly stimulus checks, could get a bigger push today than ever before. Why? Because the president is debuting his fifth stimulus package, and it'll show that he'll spend $6 trillion over 9 months in his first term as first year as president. It signals that stimulus needs to go by reconciliation faster than ever. Meantime, incredible great news about SSI and SSDI reform coming in a standalone letter today that details 4 to 5 incredible provisions that would pay you more on a monthly benefits before anyone had ever seen anything like this happen. I'll have all those details and more. Also, in addition to the anticipation of forced stimulus, a new Romney plan was introduced minutes ago. Is it good for forced stimulus? Is it bad for forced stimulus? And what does it say about fifth stimulus? And then, yes, the breaking news. A verdict has been reached in the case that has captivated a country. I'll break into that live verdict being announced within minutes. It is going live in about 3 minutes from now. We'll watch it as it unfolds. This is a big afternoon's broadcast, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get to it on Afternoons LALATE. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a big Afternoons LALATE, our interactive first broadcast. Remember, there's 2 Afternoons LALATE. The second one is after this in 2 hours from now. That is the big show. Then 2 hours after that is Evenings LA. In this show, I interact with you more than any other broadcast of the day. It's our last live show. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. There was a lot of developing details about forced stimulus, reoccurring stimulus checks, fifth stimulus, and standalone relief for SSI and SSDI recipients we've never seen before until today. And one after another, developing details unfolded. Let me go over broadly the items one at a time. First, multiple stimulus checks on the forced stimulus package are getting an incredible big push, and that incredible big push is coming on the news that the president wants to spend $6 trillion over 9 months in his first 9 months as president. A new detail today says that this September will bring upon us fifth stimulus, and it will be a $1 trillion price tag, in addition to the $3 trillion price tag for fourth stimulus and the $2 trillion price tag for the second stimulus. What is fifth stimulus, and why do you need to know about it? Fifth stimulus is for you. The fourth stimulus package is reoccurring stimulus checks and its infrastructure, the American Jobs Plan. The fifth stimulus package this fall is called the America Family Plan, but it may also have stimulus checks in it. But more importantly, there's what everyone else wants to have in there as well. They want to have in there an incredible new push for what I can report as SSI reform. Wow. The president proposes the fifth stimulus package to have child tax credits that would pay children a lot more money. But today, Democrats, no less than all the leading Democrats who want to give you multiple stimulus checks, debuted to the American people how they want to do SSI reform. Now, let me slow this down because this may be a lot of information in just a few seconds. First, forced stimulus is the bill that is going to get worked on and finalized and voted by July 4th. The start time on that bill is no later than about May 5th. What does that have in there? Monthly stimulus checks. How much? Senators want to give you 6 months of checks from July to December, maybe $1,400 or $2,000. The House members want to give you about 18 months of checks. Pandemic plus 1 year, pandemic 6 more months potentially, then that's 18 checks, $1,000 each, $18,000. If you're on SSI, this is you. If you're on veterans benefits, this is you. If you make less than $75,000, this is you. And if you're a married couple or household 4 or less, this is you. This is the individual amount. It's not taxable, does not impact your benefits. So that's forced stimulus. You got that? That's forced stimulus. Forced stimulus needs to go by reconciliation, a process that does not need bipartisan support. The president this week spoke about bipartisan support, but all that efforts or all that talking point about bipartisan support may fall on deaf ears today. Why? Because a new report revealed that the president wants to spend an additional $1 trillion in September on top of the $3 trillion he wants to spend under this package. The Republicans have said they're not even spending $600,000 on this package, the forced stimulus package. So do you think they're going to spend $3 trillion on this package? No. Do you think they're going to give him another $1 trillion in September? No. It means the president's going to have to do reconciliation after reconciliation. It's much of optics at this point. We understand the situation. But then came this, an incredible new report, a new letter from SSI supporters. And those supporters are the people who want to give you those stimulus checks. Remember the people who have written the letters about stimulus checks. The the Elizabeth Warren, the Chuck Schumer, the Bernie Sanders, Sherrod Brown, the Ron Wydens in the Senate, and then the 100+ members in the House. Guess what? They wrote a letter today and said, basically, the letter's addressed to the president. Basically, you made a series of promises on the campaign trail. You made a series of promises during the transition. You have yet to come through with those promises. This fall, in September, when you do the America Family Plan, the fifth stimulus package, you must put these things in there. Wow. This is huge for a lot of reasons. One, it's really holding the president accountable like you have, asking me every day, what's the update on SSI? Anything new on SSI, LALATE? Why is the president not holding his promises? Finally, you're pushing my hashtagging of SS200 since fall of last year is working because suddenly they wrote the letter. And that letter detailed throughout the day is just shocking. It's 2 pages in length. It's signed line after line by all these House members. And this recording, I'm going to go over a little bit of what's happening in this incredible letter. I'm also going to cut into the live announcement as it happens in the trial verdict. A verdict has been reached, and it was to be announced about 3 minutes ago. I will cut in as soon as that announcement goes live. The incredible details is that they want to fix SSI in many regards. Overall, they want to pay you more in benefits. Second, they want to increase your asset limits. Third, they want to increase the benchmark so that you're tied to inflation. Let's start with just those first 3 items so you understand what's at issue here. You get a current amount of benefits per month. What are those benefits based upon? According to the letter, those benefits are based upon calculations dating back to 1984. They say this economy is not 1984. The cost of living is not 1984. You have not had your benefits reassessed since 1984. It's time to change them. Second, it talks about the issue of the benchmark. If you've been with me since last year, I talk about the benchmark. Every December, your benefits get increased, whether you're on Social Security or veterans benefits. And that benchmark is determining how much your benefits increase each year. They don't want to use the current benchmark of COLA. They don't want to use the benefits benchmark of Elizabeth Warren during the campaign trail of CPIE. They want to use inflation. Wow. Now, inflation grows at about 2, 3, 4%. So imagine how high your benefits would increase. And then they want to do the following modifications. They want to allow you to make more money for income and still stay on benefits. And they also want to remove the marriage penalty. This is all big news for you across the board. Now, if you saw why I sort of sped through that a little bit quicker than I usually would go into the detail of it, there's a reason. While that got debuted, guess what also got debuted? The Romney plan. Yeah, that Romney. Mitt Romney introduced a plan now, in literally the same breath of we're hearing this. And that Romney plan proposes to fix the Social Security Administration system, the railroad benefits, and similar. Ironic? Not at all. So Railroad benefits are expected to run out in 1 year. Another Medicare, I believe, expected to run. One Medicare trust is expected to run out in benefits in a few years. If you look at the list, and I detail this more on Evenings LA, these programs are running out of money. They don't have enough funding for them. So what did he do? He introduced a new bill today. And that new bill proposes to fund the programs. Sounds so good so far, isn't it? Yeah, so far so good. But then we see the analysis of the report. The analysis of the report says he wants to fund the programs by also cutting the benefits. Oh, yeah. Why would he cut the benefits? Now, ultimately, it's up for debate whether he would cut the benefits or not, but that's what the analysis of the report say, that he would cut the benefits. So, nothing to worry about. These are Republicans. Leader Schumer's not going to call for a vote, right? Well, who's supporting this? This is what's important. The Romney plan is supported by Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, those two Democrats who have often been the thorn in President Biden's foot for reconciliation packages. Why would Manchin and Sinema, Democrats, support a program that would ultimately cut your Social Security benefits at the same time that you hear me detailing a massive letter sent out by Democrats to increase your benefits? Really peculiar. Very peculiar. I have no answer for you. Here's what you need to know. No need to worry because the benefits are not being cut. The Romney plan would never be called for a vote. As you know how the Senate now works, now that Leader Schumer is in control, if he doesn't like something, it's not going to call for a vote. So Romney can introduce 30 bills. It's never going to call for a vote. But it's very interesting into the optics of what's going on with Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, that they would even consider supporting something like this that would cut your benefits. Really interesting. So let's go back to why it's important for you to understand that when we look at forced stimulus and the huge payouts of forced stimulus, that it's no longer actually that huge. Today we learned what the president wants to put in the fifth stimulus package. And at a price tag of $1 trillion, you're probably wondering what is costing $1 trillion. Guess what? What's costing $1 trillion under the fifth stimulus package is, are you ready for this? A stimulus check for a child 18 years or younger every month for 5 years. I told you it was happening. I told you it was 18 years, but the president apparently pulled back a little bit and instead of doing 18 years, he's doing 5 years. Imagine $300 a month over 12 months is $3,600 times 5 years. Yes, it's about $18,000, $18,000. He wants to give all 17-year-olds over 5 years about $17,000 to $18,000. Do you feel guilty at this point wondering about a push for multiple stimulus checks for you as an adult of $8,000 when he's thinking of spending $17,000 on children on top of the $3,600 they're getting now under the third stimulus package? No, that is why you need to understand that forced stimulus, the biggest single payout you've ever seen on this channel, is a reality. It is a reality if they get this done and get it going. You have been with this channel since 2020 and saw when in 2020, by comparison, this may have looked like a lot of money. But in lieu of what's happening today, where the president wants to spend $15,000 on children who have already gotten $3,600 this year. So about $20,000 he wants to spend on those children over 6 years. It's not a tall call to look at this forced stimulus package and see $8,000 for you. Not at all. It's important to get this out the door because, Purple Power, you need to do your thing. Meantime, I'm still watching to see if the live feed has gone live. I will break in there as quickly as possible as the verdict is announced. Always on Afternoons LALATE, I make this an interactive broadcast because this is the last live video of the day. So if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comments right now. I know I'm covering a lot of stuff today. Other things I want to go over so far in today's broadcast is that the money for mortgage mortgage assistance, rent utilities, and more under second stimulus, December last year's stimulus, has still not landed in some states like Florida. So give it a little bit of time. There's a big controversy about why this money has not landed. Then the money for third stimulus for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance is expected to arrive in May. Student loan debt forgiveness I've been detailing throughout the day. Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer are not pleased. They're not pleased that the memo from that education secretary was due last Friday, wasn't delivered. And here is one of the major developing details that happened just minutes ago. I told you this week was going to be a big week for corporate earnings. I told you Tuesday was going to be the day for Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, and Netflix to report corporate earnings, and that those earnings are a very good gauge of where this economy is going. Well, guess what? Netflix just reported earnings, and I got to tell you where they are. On revenue, it was a slight beat, but very nominal. It was nearly apples to apples. Thank you, Canute, for the dancing pair. On earnings, it was a slight beat, but nearly apples to apples. And then this one. The number of subscribers that Wall Street was expecting, they missed big time. Big time. It shows that, one, competition was setting in, but more importantly, two, people were not staying home as much. The numbers for Netflix's number of subscribers tanked, didn't even come anywhere close near predictions. I think the numbers, if I'm recalling off the top of my head, is it came in at 3 million and they were looking for 9 million. It was astronomically not even close, which signals that the economies are reopening now and that Americans may not be staying at home like we had originally expected. And we do have a verdict, so I will cut in right now. Let's see if there's any audio. And there is not. So let me jump into the live chat with you and see any of your questions or comments you have across the board. What's happening with student loan debt forgiveness, says Jody. Jody, the student loan debt forgiveness, we have not heard from the education secretary. That memo was due last Friday. And Warren and Schumer are not pleased, nor am I, wondering where is that education secretary's memo? To recap, the president 2 weeks ago instructed the education secretary to prepare a memo to detail whether or not you can forgive student loan debt forgiveness by executive order. Of course, the president can, because Obama did it and Trump did it, but we've still not received that memo due last Friday. So we're staying on top of that as well. Any other questions, drop in the comments as well. Miss Marie says, I'm worried about the jury's decision. And thank you, Newt, for the dancing pair. Other items that are hitting today as well is the surprising details about how the president will deal with the next few weeks. Here, when you look at this graphic about where the president is spending this stimulus, it's really quite surprising. The president in January proposed a third stimulus package of $2 trillion, and it came in really almost exactly where he proposed it. The fourth stimulus package, yesterday, the press secretary said we haven't figured out a price, even though the president has said the price is $3 trillion. And the fifth stimulus, coming in September, now has a $1 trillion price tag. $6 trillion is unlike anything we have seen in a generation in the first 9 months of a president's term. It's an enormous expenditure, and that ultimately people may be wondering, where are we going to get $6 million to pay for all this? And why are Americans not getting more money if there's so much money being spent? The president will have to raise more taxes for the fifth stimulus than you currently see under the third stimulus. And currently see, under the fourth stimulus. In a new political report this weekend, the president reportedly is trying to grapple with which items he will use for purposes of tax raises. And he hasn't yet decided. You've heard about corporate taxes, but there may be more than just corporate taxes at issue. We're still waiting for any updates from the court. Let me see if there is any audio there at all. And there's not. And let me see some more of your questions as well. Christine says, I'm watching as well. There's going to be another baby boom, says Miss Moraine. Well, you know, if you're getting $300 a week for a child, a month for a child, then absolutely. So are we getting MSC in July? Gee-duh, magnificent. Yes. So it's important to go over that timeline. Let's go back to that timeline in a second as I watch the court's feed. The provision would, the vote on the fourth stimulus is no later than July 4th. Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi confirms. So the vote would happen no later than July 4th. It really needs to happen earlier than that, folks, because they go on vacation. You don't want them to literally vote the day before they're about to leave. But the final vote of step 2 of a 2-month process would be no later than July 4th. That means that the first round of stimulus checks would go out around July 15th, 10 days after July 14th. As you saw under this round, it took multiple deliveries of stimulus checks to everyone got theirs. People have been asking me, how would they deliver these stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package? A little bit differently, I hope. Under 2020's proposal from Warren and Harris, they proposed to send you a debit card one time and that it would just replenish every month. So you wouldn't have to worry about looking for the mail every single 3 weeks. Let me see some more of the questions. Jason, in referring to third stimulus, yes, if you've not gotten your third stimulus check by direct deposit, today is Tuesday, and usually the press secretary is very good in her opening remarks on Wednesdays to tell us if there's another round of direct deposit for stimulus checks. So is there another round of third stimulus checks this coming Wednesday? We don't know. I have not gotten an email or an alert or a private message from anyone who said they got a stimulus check direct deposit in the last 2 days. But we should look and watch if the press secretary does update us about that tomorrow in her opening remarks on Wednesday. Wanda, what's going on with the target advance? I've been stuck on the submitted and processing since February. Great question for Wanda. So the EIDL target advance, I can exclusively report to you about the following. I have the court feed in my other screen here, so I won't miss it for you. I have a lot of screens here. The EIDL target advance, Wanda, when people got it in February and responded in February, it got them stuck in another vortex. Yeah, can you imagine? It's like 2020 all over again. So there is a vortex of stuck February respondees who have sat back and watched people from March get paid before them. So don't worry, because SBA reportedly knows about the vortex. Nothing you can do except just watch the inbox. It's coming. They know there is a stuck situation for that. So don't worry. Great question. And let me jump into the live chat. I have so many mouses, computer screens here. Let's see. I got mine on the 25th, LA. Oh, wonderful. There you go. And let me see some of the questions. Unemployment rebate official date yet? Zachary, great question. They said May. So I don't know if they gave an exact day in the month of May. For some reason, I remember May 5th somewhere. I don't know why, Zachary. That's a great question. But they said in May. Generally, when Treasury sends things out, they generally do it in a tighter frame of 1 to 3 weeks. So somewhere in May, the refund will come. Again, the refund is the following. If you filed a 2020 tax return and paid taxes on your 2020 unemployment, and they think that it was under $10,200, they are sending a refund back to you. Again, this is for people who have filed a 2020 return. Did that sick pay thing ever get going? Hugh Smith, that's a great question. I believe it did. I never heard that it didn't. So, and you're a member, Hugh. So pull that bill that became law, and I think it's at the end, but I'm not positive. Donna, thank you for answering your questions about third stimulus. I appreciate that. What about the IRS check from the $10,200 tax credit? Yes. So again, that's for Jim. So yes, if you filed a 2020 tax return already and paid taxes on your first $10,200 of unemployment, that is going to be sent as a refund back to you by IRS as an actual check. And then is Ruben, is there really going to be a fourth stimulus? Yes. The senators and the House members want you to have four stimulus checks. Still waiting for the court feed. They're about 20 minutes into it. The report said it was going to start about 20 minutes ago. You're watching a live feed from the courthouse. A decision has been reached. A verdict has been reached in that trial. The one viewer asked, is forced stimulus actually going to happen? Yes. There is only two ways forced stimulus would never happen. One, the president reaches bipartisan support. At the moment, unless something moves with the earth, it doesn't look like he's going to get bipartisan support. One, because he wants climate. He's not taking climate out. They don't want climate, the Republicans. Number two, they don't even want to do the full extent of his infrastructure. They want to do less. Three, they don't want to pay for it the way he wants to pay for it. It doesn't look like there's any hope. And if that didn't look less prospering for the president for bipartisan support, today's data, where he wants to spend an additional $1 trillion on September's bill, doesn't bode well for the president. Remember, stimulus checks, you get them by reconciliation. Bipartisanship does not get you stimulus checks. The last thing that always concerns me, and I cover it a lot on this channel, is getting this done too late after the economy has rebounded. So far, we're fine. We have not seen any new economic data in the last few days so far that shows that the growth rate of the economy has accelerated more than we knew where it was last week. So that's great news. The number of checks depends on whether you are a senator or a House member. The House members want to give you 18 months of checks. The senators want to give you 6 months of checks. And certainly the amount of the checks differs. House members want to give you $1,000 per month over 18 months approximately, where the senators want to give you approximately 6 months of checks and a larger amount. Let me see some of your questions. Hugh says, recon. Do you think we'll get the MSC? Cindy, absolutely. Recon. A lot of recon. Hugh's written recon just a couple times. Moolah, it's coming, says Colleen. Do you think we'll get the MSC? Says Cindy, yes. There's a large crowd outside the courthouse. I'm sure there is, absolutely. I have that live feed here, and it's still not happened. And we're coming up at about 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The initial report said that the verdict would be reached, would be announced between 30 minutes ago and now. Let me double check. I'm not missing anything on the feed right now. Yeah, there is nothing new. Let me also check what is happening elsewhere in regards to the fee, in regards to the announcement. And there is nothing else, just that the verdict has been reached. The verdict is expected to be read between 4:30 and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday. It's currently 4:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm doing my math right. 3, 2, yeah. It's currently 2 minutes to 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. According to the court, the Chauvin determination is being carried by a video feed from the courthouse. It was announced that the jury would deliver its verdict on Tuesday afternoon. After it was announced that the jury would deliver its verdict today, the president canceled his planned remarks on the infrastructure bill, which he was expected to have today. I do not know how long they have been deliberating, but it does not seem like it's been an incredible long period of time. Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson, has already indicated his client would appeal any decision today. Nelson's comments were cited comments by Maxine Waters, Democrat of California, urging protesters to be confrontational. Interesting. And with that, let me jump back into the comments and see if you have any other questions as well. You're watching a live feed from the courthouse right now as the verdict is about to be announced. And the announcement was to happen within the last 30 minutes. We're 2 minutes on the time frame in which that announcement was to be made. We are waiting to see if that announcement will be timely or not. Remember, let me update you on today's continuing programming schedule. We have a lot of great shows coming up later today. Afternoons LA returns at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by Evenings LA and then Late Night. Afternoons LA is a big broadcast tonight. Oh boy, folks, you cannot miss that show. That is going to be a big one. Followed by Evenings LA, which is going to have all the shocking developing details about that forced stimulus and that SSI reform. And then tonight, LA Late Night, that irreverent, non-informational video heats up. Cindy, how am I doing to help the push on the forced stimulus for recon? Great comment. So if you are let me pull up this graphic for you. Let me grab the camera actually. If you are a member, you want to look later today and tomorrow for this PDF, which I'm going to deliver to members, which is the Elizabeth Warren U.S. Senate PDF. On page 2 of the letter, which is a public letter, it's not a private correspondence, a public letter released by Warren, is her top staffer who she asks the respondent to reach out to. If you have a question or comment you want to reach out to Elizabeth Warren on, reach out through that email address. That email address is on the bottom of the second page. Remember, if you want to push for MSC, multiple stimulus checks, there's your correspondence. How about student loan debt forgiveness? There you go. What about the wealth tax, which heated up today from Elizabeth Warren? Yes, the wealth tax bill from a few months ago. It's in there as well. Finally, if you want to push for this incredible SSI reform, which I detailed early in this video, which Elizabeth Warren also co-signs. These are all hers. These are all things that she's either co-signing or authoring herself. Then push for that as well. That incredible piece of that incredible correspondence is not legislation, but correspondence, which pushes this out the door. Jenny, will the parliamentarian have less to do with the forced stimulus package? A great question. So the parliamentarian has already ruled that the forced stimulus package, if it modifies the third stimulus package, can go by reconciliation. Ultimately, every time there's a reconciliation, the parliamentarian has to look at it and see if everything qualifies under the inherent authority of a reconciliation, which is for budgeting. Infrastructure clearly qualifies for budgeting. And Jason says, yes, the verdict between 4:30 and 5 p.m. It's currently 5:01 p.m. So it's currently 5:01 p.m. in the East Coast. I'm checking the audio unless you hear something. I don't hear anything at all. So we are delayed as usual. What did I miss? Let me tell you the big update. I have a feeling what's going to happen in this recording is the verdict's going to be announced. It's going to be very sudden if I'm still on camera. I'll stay on camera for just a little bit more anticipation of the verdict. I do see some movement in a reflection in the plexiglass of the screen, not my screen. But let me tell you the big recap. Forced stimulus is heating up in a way we never saw before because fifth stimulus got its first briefing today. And the indication that the President of the United States wants to spend a lot of money. And over January to September, he wants to spend $6 trillion. This signals the push for reconciliation more than ever before. Fourth stimulus needs to go by reconciliation, and it needs to go sooner rather than later. Meantime, fifth stimulus will likely have SSI reform. Today, I detailed the new letter written by members of Congress to reform the SSI system to get it in there in the fifth stimulus package. That's in September. That SSI reform would increase your benefits, increase your asset limits, and tie your benefits to a new benchmark, inflation, which increases about 2 to 3% per year. This is incredible great news. It would also remove the income exclusion where it currently is and remove the marriage penalty. Cindy, how am I doing pushing on the fourth stimulus for econ? I know you see it. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Meantime, underneath the afternoon's LA logo, there's a plexiglass from the courtroom, and I see some movement in the plexiglass. But other than that, nothing else really happening just yet. And with that, I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably cut away. Oh, I see some movement on the screen. I'll probably cut away and then they'll come back. They'll come on camera. But it's one of those things when you're going live, you don't know how long to stay live. Of course, I'm going to see you in less than an hour from now, as afternoon's LALATE heats up in 1 hour from now. So let me show you our. Oh, I see some movement on the screen. There we go. Okay, we do have something. All right, I'm going live with the courtroom.
All rise for the jury.
You're watching a live feed of the verdict right now.
All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court File Number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, Juror Foreperson, Juror Number 19. Same caption, verdict Count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44.
What you're hearing right now
correct
is a
verdicts?
pulling of the jurors.
Juror
The
number
jurors have now
52,
found
these are
the
true
defendant
and correct
guilty on all
verdicts.
charges.
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service.
And we are so continued. I will see you back in 2 hours, in an hour from now, as Afternoons LA heats up. Thank you for joining me on a special broadcast. This has been Afternoons LA, and I'll see you back at 3 o'clock, at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused, and save our life for more.